Hey, what's up, everybody? So Bleach ended. So obligatory Bleach video. And this isn't going to be what I did for Naruto, where I did like a full retrospective and I did multiple videos on it. Because I don't really think Bleach deserves it, nor do I really care to do that. There's not enough on Bleach to talk about, nor... And here's the thing. It's not like I haven't been aware of Bleach's stuff because of Visit Shonen Jump, and because Visit Shonen Jump is a collection of all the newest chapters of the series that they have licensed. I would see all the new stuff from all the mangas, and I would glance over Bleach because I would usually be clicking my way through to get to Black Clover recently, to get to My Hero Academia, to get to One Punch Man, to get to Blue Exorcist, to get to One Piece. And I would skim over this and Fairy Tail, and not Fairy Tail, World Trigger, and Food Wars, and all that other shit. So I happened to cross, and I understood a general idea of what was going on without really reading into the details, because honestly, I didn't give a fuck about the details. And because of that, I did read the last chapter. I did see how it ended, and my ability to give a fuck didn't go any higher. And then the live-action movie adaptation. I have no interest in seeing that, because usually anime live-action adaptations aren't good unless the show is grounded enough for it to make sense. Something like Rurouni Kenshin would be fine. Bleach is probably the better of the three major series to do. Still don't think it's going to be fucking good, because Bleach wasn't good. And so this video is really going to talk about how hindsight is 2020. When I was reading it back in like 2007, 2008, I love Bleach. I thought Bleach was actually better. I think even my old videos, I used to say Bleach was like, at least, I would argue was over like Naruto in some aspects. I don't know why the fuck I said that, and I do not agree at all with that, because I don't think Bleach was really ever that good. But as I said, hindsight is 2020. I didn't really start realizing it until I started thinking about it, and even like recently, because before I was just kind of indifferent and I just didn't care to think about Bleach at all. And then thinking about it recently, since the manga just ended, I just kind of sat there and went, why the fuck did we think this was good to begin with? And I know why. I know what the appeal for Bleach is, because I fell for the appeal. I just don't think Bleach was ever really structured well. And to kind of give you an explanation of what I mean by that is, take like how Bleach started. Bleach started with the whole idea of hollows. For those who don't remember, hollows became irrelevant by like the beginning of the first real arc. Like when we got to like the beginning of Soul Society, where Ichigo got his shit wrecked by Renji and Byakuya. When he got his shit wrecked and they took Rukia away and she was destined to be executed, that's about the time in which hollows really stopped meaning a goddamn thing. And yeah, they were used, but they were just thrown away like in the matter of like episodes. It was stupid. And I think the Soul Society should have been the point in time where people realized that there is a problem here. And let me explain why. Most other Shonen Jump series had the understanding to be like, if we're going to introduce a fuck ton of characters, we need to do this in a relatively gradual fashion so we don't overwhelm the reader. What did fucking Bleach do? Bleach introduced us, I think, to Orihime, Rukia, Chad, Kon, who am I missing? Uryu, and some of the other high school kids that were relevant as fuck. And then as soon as they were introduced, I think it went right into the Soul Society, in which we got introduced to not only the Soul Society as a concept and what the fuck it is, but also Yoriichi and Urahara and all the various squads and their members and their lieutenants and their fucking captains, and then the fucking Yamamoto and the Soul King and the concept of, I forget, what's his name, Danzu and all this other shit. It was like, why did you throw this much shit at us in the core? And this is like the first major arc of the series. It wasn't like even Naruto and fucking Bleach, Naruto and One Piece were like, look, if we're going to introduce you to shit, East Blue as a saga was a gradual introduction of thoughts and ideas. Naruto started with like the beginning being like the Zabuza arc. And the Zabuza arc was just kind of giving you a feel of how ninja missions went, but it still didn't throw like 18 goddamn characters at you, which is an understatement for Bleach. Bleach threw like over 100 at us. Probably, yeah, at least over 100. It was at least like borderline to 100 characters in the first fucking arc of the series. And then when you think about it even further, they also introduced the Aizen subplot in the middle of this fucking arc. This arc was originally a rescue arc, which turned into the beginning of the fucking Aizen bullshit. When you think about that in context, it's like, wait a minute, so you introduce Aizen as a character and as a part of the fucking rule, like the fucking Soul Society, like one of the major captains, and then you introduce this whole little plot shit literally within the damn arc. And then on top of that, when you think about it, Ichigo at the beginning of this arc was like probably on some bullshit ass low tier squad member shit. And this motherfucker fought like two captains and a fucking lieutenant. And out of all the characters he fought, 2 of them could use Bankais. Let me think about it. Byakuya and Kenpachi were considered, and are still considered, some of the strongest members in the fucking Gotei 13. And fucking, you had him fight Ikaku, which really didn't mean too much at the time. Fucking Kenpachi, fucking Renji, and then fucking Byakuya, and it was like, to the point where you had to have a fucking training arc in the middle of the motherfucking arc. Which usually doesn't bother me if the character was strong to begin with, but he wasn't. It's like the arc's whole point was to show how weak Ichigo was in comparison, only to have him reach the same level as a goddamn captain in the same motherfucking arc. The beginning of the arc, he got his shit right, and by the end of it, he's literally at captain status in terms of his spiritual pressure. Why would you do that? That doesn't. What purpose? The arc literally serves no purpose other than to introduce this and like the sub. And it's not even clever because the Aizen shit literally comes out of nowhere. And I just met the fucking character and the rest of these characters, so I'm not surprised that. I'm not like, the Aizen shit isn't that big of a deal because I barely know the fucking character, and I don't feel bad about the characters he portrayed because I just fucking met them. Also, this shouldn't have even been able to work because he's going into this bitch with Chad, Orihime, and Uryu. 2 of those 3 ain't worth shit, and the 3rd one's only like a little bit better. I think Chad doesn't even win a fight. Orihime is pretty much worthless. Uryu I think Uryu does okay and then gets his shit wrecked anyway. Like, they all get their shit wrecked. And that was kind of the other problem, is that when we hit Soul Society, almost every human-ish character became irrelevant unless Kubo decided to give them this ridiculous-ass power-up. And it's funny because he repeats this cycle twice. He does it again in the beginning of the Iranka arc, where once again he starts off the arc with Ichigo and fucking Chad and Uryu, and I think that's when Nell was introduced, to go save Orihime, who's essentially like this god-tier character in power, but like never fucking shows it, so you can never tell that Orihime was as strong and reliable as she is because she never shows it. Even some of the like panels I was looking at for like the latest chapter when he fought Zangetsu, I guess, she does nothing in these panels. It's like she's like one of the most worthless characters in the series, even though she's considered to be so important. Even in the arc she was like the main focus of, still didn't really do any fucking thing. It was stupid. And once again, they had Ichigo fight like 3 or 4 niggas that were way high tier for no goddamn reason. And I get it. Shonen Jump does that all the time. The main character usually ends up fighting the most amount of enemies. But even Naruto and One Piece didn't do that. Naruto, like, when we went into... I'm trying to find a good arc to do this with. Actually, there is no Naruto arc in which he fights like 6 or 7 high-tier characters. He usually fights... It's usually like a 1 villain per arc kind of thing. One Piece did the same thing. It wasn't like One Piece went in there and took out the majority of CP9. He only fought like 2 members. He fought Bluno and he fought Lucci. Yeah, he didn't fight anybody else. So why the fuck? And it's like okay, so we're gonna keep doing this thing where we keep trying to make the real life characters, like the characters in the normal world, important, and then they don't do shit. And so it's like, well, so you've wasted my time by having these characters even be around, and then you give them like these bullshit ass power ups that don't mean anything. It's like, oh, Chad gets this dumb power up that only allows him to take out this one guy. Then he's fucking irrelevant again. Uryu, it was the same fucking thing. Power up, and then he was irrelevant again. And even the fight I think he had like 2 fights. In the second fight, he had to be saved by Mayuri, and it was like, that's great. It's fucking great. And that's why I thought it was funny, because everyone was bitching about the ending, about how, oh, we're not going to get all this development. You should have been complaining about the development of these characters back in the beginning, which is one of the reasons why I stopped watching and caring about Bleach after the Aizen arc shit. The Fullbringer arc started, I think I read like 2 or 3 chapters of the Fullbringer. I said, fuck this, I'm done. Because it's the same stupid shit. And I think, and he even reused the same gimmicks where like fucking Ichigo would lose his goddamn powers. He lost his powers like, what was that? I'm trying to make sure. I wouldn't say he necessarily lost it. They did the Naruto transformation with the hollow form, which carried on for way too fucking long. Then he lost his powers like twice. It became like a fucking joke that he kept getting his shit broken, and he had to regain his powers through some asinine way. Obviously, because he's a main character, he has like a ridiculous lineage. And so, like, when I read that last chapter of the ending, which is essentially just a come-together moment while kind of telling how everyone is and the importance of, you know, friendship and courage and all that other shit, I'm sitting there going, why did we even like this series to begin with? And it's really what it boils down to is it had cool characters, a cool battle style, and it had the ability to be fun. That's really what it boiled down to. But, like, Bleach has, like, no intrinsic value over all of that. And I understand, look, if you like the series, it's perfectly fine. But like when I look back at the series as a whole, it never really was worth the shit. Like, I mean, the Soul Society arc is, as I say, is the biggest. It's like Kubo didn't understand what the fuck the taking your time was, and so he just threw a whole bunch of elements into one arc. Because really, the Soul Society arc is way too motherfucking big. Like, there's so much in the Soul Society arc to the point where you could have split that up in the chapter. You could have split that up into arcs itself. And that's not what he did. It just had him go in there. We had to learn all the lore about it, which the little lore he bothered to fucking explain. Had to be introduced to all the fucking captains and shit. And then the whole Aizen subplot thing, which came out of fucking nowhere. And then that was like a major plot for the next arc. Like it was, oh, it's Kubo doing some foreshadowing. No, that's Kubo telling me about random shit that no one cared about at the time. Like that wasn't cool or interesting because it literally came out of nowhere. That Aizen's like this villain or something. Like there wasn't, I mean, the major, and even if we're talking about Clash of Ideals, it's just this whole thing about how I can't, like, what was, like, if you think about it, what was the whole idea of saving Rukia and what Ichigo was trying to convey to Renji and Byakuya? Care about your family. Family is important. That was literally what it was. Every other aspect of the Soul Society wasn't even interesting. So there wasn't even really interesting morals. It was just that family was fucking important. That's the moral of Soul Society. I don't know what the fuck. There was no real clashing of ideas. I think I've already ranted about the shit with Aizen, but like, and Aizen shit was interesting as a concept, not how it was executed, because you didn't really find out until the motherfucker was being sealed that, oh, he just doesn't want to be controlled by a god. It almost felt like the good guys, it was like the Christians fighting the atheists once you realize what the fuck Aizen was doing. Aizen wanted to become a god himself that transcended gods because he didn't want to have to be locked under the fucking rules of another god. He wanted to be his own person and shit. Which is a fine idea in itself. It's just that it was introduced so fucking late game that I didn't give a shit. And the Hollow Ichi, like Bleach has a lot of interesting style choices and inspirations, like how a lot of the Arancars was based behind like Mexican names and traditions and the culture of Mexico in general. Like, it had aspects of it that was interesting, but at the end of the day, it's a show that had really no point to it. It's not like with Naruto or fucking One Piece. There literally was no point in Bleach. Bleach was a situation by situation basis. Cause like, oh, my family's in trouble. I guess I'm gonna become a Soul Reaper. Oh, Rukia is kidnapped. I guess I gotta go save her. Oh, Aizen's a dick, and he stole Orihime. I gotta go save Orihime. And then I have to stop Aizen. I didn't. Oh, Quincy fucking Soul Reaper War shit, which I don't know too much about. Fullbringer was another worthless arc. I need to give my Soul Reaper powers back. I don't. You know what? I legitimately think I am so fucking happy because I'm so tired. And it's funny how people are mad about this ending, but I'm like, most of you didn't give a fuck about Bleach a while ago. Like we went through this. It's funny. The Bleach fandom went through this process of people just dropping out of the series because it just became worthless as fuck. And now all of a sudden, people fucking care about Bleach again because you found out that it was ending and they had a shitty ending. Bleach for all intents and purposes was a shitty series. And look, if you like it, you like it. But like realistically, Bleach really has no intrinsic value. I can't even say I learned anything from Bleach. Bleach had cool fucking abilities. And just like Naruto, a whole bunch of underutilized characters. That's literally what Bleach is. It's a show that had cool abilities and cool looking characters like every other Shonen Jump series. But just like Naruto, a whole bunch of underutilized motherfuckers, a whole bunch of waste of space, and just a lot of fucking potential that could have been used. But that's not because it was ended quickly. That's because Kubo dicked around with the entire story since the shit was created. It's like he felt like he needed to rush the early arcs of it and then fucking dicked around at the very end. That literally is what it came off. It came off as I fucking rushed the Soul Society arc because, as I said, that arc is way too big and had a lot of shit in it that could have been further explored. In that motherfucking arc, if he had just broke the shit up, and then the rest of it, he just fucking dicked around. Like, we really needed to drag out the Aizen shit. Like, when you think about it, Bleach has like 3 main arcs. Soul Society, the Rancor, and the war shit at the end. Because the fucking Visor shit is an in-between shit. Fullbringer in between, and the beginning of the series is in between to the damn Soul Society. That's ridiculous. This show, like, I think Bleach is, how old? Bleach came out early 2000s. Bleach is over 10 years old and only has 3 fucking main arcs. And if you want to be generous and count Fullbringer and count Visor, okay, fine, it has 5. It has 5 fucking arcs in the course of 10 years. Of over 10 years, probably. It's probably been more than 10 years. Compared to, like, Naruto and One Piece, who in the same time frame had a fucking, like, that's what I understand. Bruh. This shit needed to end. I'm glad it's over. And I'm pretty sure people are going to be mad at me for this video. What else is new? Woo! Catch you guys later. I still need to come up with an ending phrase. It's probably, I need to go look it up in one of my old videos and see what I did one that I liked and I forgot what it was. I guess I didn't like it that much. Peace out.